Okay, people, welcome back to another Fwoosh Playday. Let's just call it that. It feels more like a figure or fodder, but I know most of these are going to be figures. Except maybe that one. And I have a choice to make when it comes to that timber back there. Oh, and I guess I'll have to make some kind of call for Duke, too. I keep scanning because I don't want to put my foot in my mouth, but I think all the rest of them are unique characters for the display. And most of all, I'm going to be doing some playing. So, G.I.Joe Playday. Since it's that and 13 figures, roundabout, I'm not going to get as in-depth as an individual review. I'm not going to go over every single articulation point. I'm just going to take them for a test drive. And yeah, as you could tell, I couldn't wait on Recondo and Bazooka. I started taking them down and figuring out who I wanted to start with and everything, and realized I didn't have Zarana in that initial picture. So she's part of the crew too. Oh, and I just looked up and realized there's also Serpentor and Dr. Mindbender. Those won't be a part of this. This is like mainline releases and stuff. I'll get to those at some other point. They're big and extravagant and crazy. Starting with Stalker, because I think this is the oldest one I have unopened, and I've been kind of excited to get Stalker out of the package. But once that pile started building, it just kept getting deeper and deeper. So here we are. And this looks fantastic. That head sculpt is amazing. Then the second thing that catches my eye is the colors in the camo. A little more muted than what I usually associate with Stalker, but this totally works as kind of a mix of real world and comic book. And cartoon, don't forget about that. We've gotten quite a few figures at this point that are very similar with the boots and the pants and the long sleeve shirts, but this doesn't seem to be reuse of that. Oh, definitely not, because this is pinless. Maybe it's reuse of something I haven't opened up yet. Or new for Stalker. Either way, look, it's Stalker. That's all that matters. Double knees with amazing range. I did oil the hips. I don't know if it needed it. There was some tension there, so I thought better safe than sorry. At this point, it's almost automatic for me to pull out the oil, give it a couple of dabs right here on the ball joint, and then go along my happy way and not have to worry about breaking my toy. The harness rig does like to ride up as I move around. Just keep dragging it down. I wonder, oh, yep. Put this here. That's gonna hold that in place. Problem solved. Oh, unless I tear it over there and knock this out and, oh, what? I wonder why they redesigned the bicep, though, to just be a straight cut. We've seen so many figures at this point where it kind of goes up and around the shoulders a bit more traditional. Here, well, it doesn't look bad, and it functions. It just looks odd. It sticks out at me. You know what makes a kick-ass figure even better? Lots of accessories. First off, it's Stalker. He's got to have his beret, and I haven't put this on yet, but ooh, icing on cake. He comes with a pistol, and I always got to pull on this. No, it doesn't come out. But it does have this holster for that, and does this go this way or this way? Stick it that way for now, and I will take your judgment down in the comments. You know what the knife sheath on the other leg means? It means a knife. Have this rifle, nice little stock, and what I like most is this is shaped to fit one way. So you're not left questioning, did I put that in right? On top of that, ooh, this is tight. It's not coming back out. Well, you can pull it out, of course, but it stays like that. And that can go, oh, that's why that comes out. You gotta have it out in order for this to fit in there. But there's a hole for this. Sweet. Have this heavier machine gun, looking good, and that comes with this. I'm putting it this way. Again, get your fingers ready. Let me have it if I'm doing that wrong. The right hand has the up and down. The left has the side to side. So again, it's been a while since I've opened some G.I. Joes, but right-handed. A lot of the Joes are lefties. And then finally there is this. And there you go. All the accessories on the figure. I don't know how much I like this. I feel like it would be better. Is it sculpted to go around the grenades and stuff? It is. Badass. For Xamot, this is Xamot, right? Yeah, Xamot. Very, very classic looking, which means, and I hate to say this, don't take this in a completely negative way, but kind of plain, although it does capture the character perfectly. Got some bare arms, have just a plain shirt type thing under this sash with the armor on it. That crotch cover gonna bite ya. More snake motif down here on the legs. Pretty much just some pants under that. And there you go. Oh, some gloves. Pouch for some double mint gum. That's right. Twin joke. Double your pleasure. Nice clean Cobra logo tampo on the chest. I thought for a second the shirt line right there was just painted on, but nope, that's sculpted in. Got some rivets to the armor, and that's all one overlay. The sash, the neck guard, and then the shoulder pad. And there's a bracer on the left arm that is a separate piece. Very, very tight, but you can rotate it. I haven't decided if I like it in that position or if I need to turn it or something. Also out of the package, since there's a swivel at the thigh and at the top of the boot, this was turned a bit and this was here, and I thought, oh no, you just turn it, then you have one long snake. After rambling about having to oil Stalker's hips, I didn't have to do that here. They just came out of the package nice and smooth. Well, you can hear the little detents on the ball in there, but hey, I'm not complaining. Then there's the head. Look at that. The scar, the hair parted to the right. And it's at that point I'll bring Tomax back in, because as we all know, his design is the exact opposite of Xamot's. The knife sheath is on the opposite hip. The boot sheath is on the opposite leg. Got your gauntlets. Is that the same gauntlet just turned around? Mirror image sash with the armor pieces. And then the heads. The hair is parted to the opposite side. No scar on Tomax. And he has a raised eyebrow, almost like he's cocky about that. I know how to avoid injury. The body itself, yeah, the wrinkles. You can see there's one big one coming across right here. It is the exact same over here. Same legs, the same design. It's just the add-on parts that have been swapped. Is this glove top separate too? Oh yeah, okay. You can turn the high side to the outside. For accessories, they both come with this machine gun. And like I was saying, this is just a rectangle. So you don't know if, oh, well, that, actually, oh, there we go. You hear that pop? Then there is a suppressor that fits in the end. And then they each have a pair of serpentine daggers. It hurts more when you stab. There's no place to store the gun, so if you want everything on the figure, you have to sheath one of the daggers. Both wrists on both figures are up and down. They're ready to do some shooting and some stabbing. Let's make Tomax right-handed. I'm not sure of the lore or the history or anything. It just seems like he's going to want to shoot and then have some armor in case there's return fire. Got to switch Xamot over to left. They look good and they add to the Cobra ranks. There ain't nothing wrong with that. For Kamakura, I know, Kamakura, and I feel like I'm still saying it wrong, but I don't have a lot of history with this character. I kind of know who it is, but for me, more than anything, it was another ninja to add to the display, to fight all the other ninjas that I already have in the display. Plus, I really like green. It's my favorite color. And to get a ninja in green, okay, I'll get it. But who would have thought with some light green and some dark green and some grays, oh, well, no, that's some blues. That does match up to here, because I was going to say, that looks out of place, but somehow this overall color scheme works. Silver helps too. Oh, and there's some brown poking through. Intricate little sculpt to that too. And then you have the ninja toes and the baggy pants. Some more armor over here on the left, working around to a belt. That's actually an overlay, but it's made to look like the bottom of the shirt. A Arashikage tattoo, brown wrap, another piece of armor on the right hand. Have I mentioned I love butterfly joints? Because I do. And of course they had to prove me wrong too. Here, the hips right out of the package, not a problem. I also love the double necks while we're talking articulation. Then the hinge with a ball at the waist gets you extra movement. But overall, it's a green ninja. What else is there to say? Other than it comes with a lot of accessories. I guess this green sash thing would be the first thing I should plug on because it's part of the costume. And then there's the hood. If this was an articulated Icons figure, most people would do it like this and go, wow, that looks weird. Why does it look like a diaper? You're supposed to pop the head off and then put the head into there, pop the head back on. And that's what it's supposed to look like. It even fits down in there. Is this pretty much Storm Shadow again? It's been a while since I messed with him. But if you don't want the ninja look, there's also this unmasked head that seems to be impossible to pop on. Behind the camera strength! And I think I kind of like that because it makes him more individual. It makes him more of a character. Then you have this back piece, sheaths. Oh, is this... which way is it going to go? Does that fit a sword? That fits a sword. What about you? Do you fit a sword? Yes, you do. Is there a backwards? No. Just notice this down hood that you can put around the neck. There's also this knife that I think came with snake eyes, wasn't it? This staff with blades on both ends. And then there's two to make it look like the staff was split in half. There's this pistol and then the Uzi. The Arashikage sure loves their Uzis. I don't know if that's set up right with the swords and everything, but looks right to me, and that's all that matters. Because it's my figure. And I have this nifty box that looks like a foot locker to store all his extra stuff, and probably a bunch of other weapons I'm about to open up. Well, I got another one in the new Snake Eyes and Timber pack, and I'm going to need it because, oh, this comes with more than I thought it did. But more than that, it comes with Timber and Snake Eyes. And Timber is all over the place with the joints right out of the package. Like I probably said in the review of the first Timber and Snake Eyes, man, Hasbro is knocking the animals out of the park. This thing has has all the joints you would need for a wolf. And that's on top of it looking great. And I think it looks even better in white. It's a tough call. This seems more natural. I'm not going to grump about having 2 kick-ass wolf figures, but which one's going to go in the display? I think this one may stay the display. This one may be the play. But you don't want those eyes peering out at you in the dark. And then for Snake Eyes, it's essentially the same figure we got, what, 3 years ago? The first figure in the Classified series line? I did say essentially, right? They did change out the boots. Now, I've screamed it far and wide that Commando Snake Eyes is my favorite version of the character. But I'll be damned if they didn't bring some Commando flavor into this figure. It's definitely ninja. I mean, there's no denying that with the visor and the skin-tight top and everything. But then the greener color to the pants and the laces on the boots, the more military style, I really, really like it. That first Snake Eyes did have kind of a grayish green to the pants, but this seems more military than definite difference to the boots. And the black to the costume isn't black, it's a gray. I don't know if you can tell the difference right there, but it is lighter. I think all of that gives it kind of a Renegade's flavor. And then just for comparison's sake, here's Commando. I haven't tried the hips yet, but they're making me a liar all through this playday. Nice and smooth, right out of the package. I usually take these bandoliers off because they're a bit bulky, but I kind of like it on this one. I don't know, maybe because I take them all off and now it's, look how new and fresh and shiny this is. But this is what catches my eye. We just looked at this with Stalker. That's not going to work with the bandolier. Take this off and that doesn't lay worth a shit. Am I doing something wrong? Oh, wait. Even if I get it around that collar, it's sticking out on the front, it's sticking out a little in the back. I like the idea of it. I just don't like it on the figure. Have that knife again. Whoosh, goes right in the sheath. Pistol goes over here. Has a suppressor that goes right there. I think this came with the Alley Viper. This came with someone too. I seem to remember that loading like that. Another Uzi, which is beautiful because Snake Eyes. Another machine gun with that already loaded in there. Alternate hand holding a throwing star. Alternate flat hand. Sword sheath and Snake Eyes sword. Oh, I'm gonna leave the bandolier on. Oh, easy enough just to throw back on there. Another great looking Snake Eyes. Another fantastic Timber. And what's crazy is that we're not done with the Snake Eyes. There's more versions to come and I'm excited about each and every one of them. I almost forgot Timber comes with an alternate head. You just pop this off, you put this on. I said you go on. And that's just meaner. Teeth out, about to bite you, chase you down. Rawr. The Crimson Guard was another one of those characters that wasn't high on my list when I was a kid. I mean, I wasn't the biggest G.I. Joe kid, but I had my favorites. I watched the cartoon. I had some of the figures. The Crimson Guard didn't register. But what sold me on this, besides me loving the Classified line, were the Hasbro promo pics. Now that I'm holding this in my hand, I know this guy can probably walk out on a battlefield and take some names. And I've just been holding it in my hand in a neutral position. It has the straight cuts again, and in this case, since it's smooth on top and bottom and slightly gapped, I feel like that could have been avoided with the more traditional shape of the bicep. This side doesn't have a lot of gap though, so not as bad. Maybe it's just, does it go back together? Go back together. And the way the mask and helmet looks, it looks heavy. But that's the thought I get every time I see a slit like that. It makes me think tank. He's not going to have any trouble breathing with any gases, tear gas, smoke, nothing. It's kind of Terminator-esque. And I say that not knowing a lot about the character. Heavy boots with this side coming up. Then there's pockets because everybody needs more pockets. And buckles. Just little painted buckles. I appreciate that little silver paint right there every time. Same goes for every little stud, the silver line coming around. This intricate paint job. Formal. Regal and formal. Is that a separate? Oh, yep. It's just hanging over the shoulder. A little sloppy with the paint right there, but overall, it's just a good look. More pouch. I'll have to figure out what that's for. Another pouch, pouch, pouch. There's even a pouch on the outside of this pouch or holster or sheath. Once again, if I haven't pointed it out, there's the hip action, no oil. At first I thought the Cobra logo was printed on because I can see the bumps, but that's actually the texture of the tunic because it's back here on the back too. To add to that regal kind of look, there's this sword. Is this a cavalry sword? I do have a bend to the sheath though, and that's not the softest material. And that's what this hole's for, isn't it? Yep. Have the backpack because he doesn't have enough pouches, but this has a lot of buckles. Look at that, all down this side and all down this side. I know there's a big thing about backpacks just plugging into the back, no straps over the shoulders, but I can see this as military type toys and some realism to it. But for me, it goes back to the 80s, and they all plugged in, so I'm kind of good with this. There's a pistol, and I was trying to shove it in here, but that holster is way over here on the left leg. This sheath is for this big honking knife. Oh, wait a second. Can you do this? Oh, hell yeah, look at that. If you don't want it hanging off his hip, you can put it on the backpack too. There's something right there. I'm not sure if it's supposed to hold anything because we are down to just the rifle. And this is about as realistic as it gets. Everything that comes with the figure is stored on it. And in this case, he's not even having to hold anything. That gun is too good to be just stored away on the backpack. Up and down hinge on the right, up and down on the left. They just started making all the figures ambidextrous to keep me from bitching about it. I feel like I'm gonna need a couple more of these. Oh, and he's kind of big and thick. I didn't realize that till I put him over here with the rest of the figures and he kind of stuck out. You don't want to mess with the Crimson Guard. Then there's Dusty, coming back to just that military type look, which makes sense because he uses a lot of Stalker. The arms, there's the legs, there's the boots. Different torso, and it's not Duke's, although I'm not saying it's not reuse from somebody else. It's just, I don't recognize it. I've also seen some people saying it's just reuse of Duke's head. Similar, but different hairstyle, brow, nose, lips, just subtle changes. And a little shinier. Dusty is sweaty. I also really like this harness. It's an overlay, but it's not as fidgety as what we've seen on some of the other characters. Double the straps back here, comes around, and it doesn't cross any articulation points. That may be why it stays in place better than a lot of them. I also like the extra bit of paint right there on that green cable that goes all the way back here. Is it something to do with the backpack, like water or air or something? If you do know what that is, you've used one before, I'm probably driving you nuts at the moment, but that's just what I do. That could be this, but I don't know. I also like this color scheme. It's going to stand out on the shelf. I'm still not sure about these cuts though. I know I keep harping on those, but every time I run across them, it seems like the arm's trying to separate a little bit. Gotta test the hips. Oh, there we go. The overlay at the waist to make it look like the shirt goes through the belt and then hangs down over the legs. It actually has another separate piece of belt that's attached right there at the pouch. Also, if you're unfamiliar, and I don't know why I'm throwing it in right here, but all these Joes have drop down hips, so you get some extra movement to that leg. I'm usually the one to say that they're kind of unnecessary. Do they really give you any extra room? But here, I haven't noticed on any of the ones I've opened today of them being kind of floppy or falling down. They've all been pretty solid. A common problem we've been seeing with Hasbro figures lately is the shiny knees. The color does seem slightly different. It's more noticeable there. I'm pretty sure it's a different material, and I guess the colors don't mix the same. I don't know why we're having that problem now, but oh, the elbows are the same. Comes with a neat little knife, goes down into the boot sheath. Comes with this gun pre-bent right out of the package. I'm gonna have to heat that up. But it has this bipod that flips down for, you know, more precision shooting. Up and down, side to side. Oh, okay, so Dusty is definitely right-handed. And I don't care for the placement of that because you can't do just a simple push and twist. You gotta fight it to get it in the hand. Trigger finger first and then the rest of it. There we go. Like I mentioned, there's a backpack, pretty much a brown lump with a bunch of detail work on it. I guess in this case, there are straps. So everyone's happy, right? Not quite. When I try to put it on the head, boop. It is the hat actively disliking the head. It does not want to go down on there. Well, okay, hey, are y'all making up? It still doesn't want to go. But quite a few people way smarter than me realize that with there being two pairs of goggles, one to put on Dusty's head in case you just want to come down like this and put it over his eyes. That gives it some extra, I don't know, maybe it's the rubber material, maybe it's just the extra plastic, but once you put the hat on there, it tends to stay down. It still looks like a plastic cover, but it's not going to fall off. It's not going to try to run away. If you don't want the goggles over his eyes, you can do this. And again, I did not come up with this method. There are people far more intelligent than me. Angle it back and it stays down. And then the other pair of goggles have a bigger strap to go up over the top here. Still though, it's Dusty. And with that other pair of goggles up under there like that, all the accessories are on the figure, even though it's not intentional. Then there's Zarana. Hell yeah. Another female in the line. And probably, right off the bat, my favorite so far. The colors, the sculpt, the overall presence. Yeah, she's top of the mountain now. This pink is just gonna pop on the shelf. And how many colors are in this hair? That is some amazing fade work. The facial features, she's mean, she's angry, she's gonna kick your ass. Some silver right here and over the shoulder and across the zipper and on this side. You know I love details like that. And the painted chain on the hip. Some long black gloves or forearm covers of some kind. Elbow protection. The jeans look with some, oh, is she wearing like pink leggings under the jeans and they're torn away to reveal that on both sides? That is a cool little detail. Also didn't realize she had spurs. That's interesting. But even looking from the front, I'm noticing that cowboy boot look with some heavy leather knee pads sticking up out of the top. That silver shoulder armor thing comes up and over. It's half a jacket. It's just one side of the collar, nothing on this side. That is some nifty design work. The whole thing's striking. I almost want an extra to put on my Star Wars display just to have kind of that bounty hunter look. Out of the package, her lower torso was kind of stuck like this. I don't know if it was stuck up on top of this or what, or stuck at the ball, but I finally got it to straighten out a bit and grab this and move it over. But look at the abs. Little muscle definition, drop down hip. Oh, and smooth action. Yep, I didn't have to oil it. It's another one of those designs that isn't, well, it is kind of crazy, but it doesn't go crazy. It's subdued, but also flashy. I don't know how to explain it. The colors and the design work just go hand in hand. It's just a beautiful look. It's very hard to tell because it's done so well. The hairpiece does come off the head, and you can swap it out with a more vintage type look. And this is another one of those things that I'm going to have a hard time deciding which look to go with. Again, fairly seamless. You would think, oh, that's an alternate head, but it's not. The hair just comes off. You have to kind of watch these sideburns. If you just throw it on, it's liable to get stuck behind the ear. Make sure it's in front. Did I grab? Oh, no, that one's behind too. Push it down, you're good to go. Hell, there's even earrings that have a little shine to them. She comes with a fairly simple blade that goes into the knife sheath. Comes with a backpack, all brown, couple pouches on each side. Plugs in, nice and secure, and there's this hole up on top. That's for this. I think the red is supposed to make it hot. Is this electrified or heated up or something? Goes in there and kind of locks in at the top. Then there's a rifle that's all dreadnoughed out with this circular saw here on the front. And again, before you go in, you gotta load up. She is a righty. Yeah, side to side on the left. But both hands have trigger fingers, so it doesn't really matter. You can put it in whichever hand you want. Geared up and ready to go, but you're gonna be left over with this. I guess you could do this, you know, maybe it's a disguise. Yeah, she's up there already as one of my favorites so far. Ooh, Sergeant Slaughter is a big old boy. Look at that, he towers. Clothesline! There is no denying who this is supposed to be. That is Sergeant Slaughter. Even if you couldn't see the face, this is classic G.I. Joe Sergeant Slaughter. The black shirt, the white belt, gold buckle, camo pants, boots, and, well, that's pretty much it. There's wrist tape, you know, because wrestling. I love that they put a texture to the shirt though, just to differentiate it a bit from the skin. Texture to the pants, pouches on the side. The knees may be slightly modernized with this sculpt look. Kind of the knee pads on the outside, but there's no straps going around. Is that part of the pants? But even the boots are kind of throwback with the greens and the blacks. You do not want to see this guy running at you from across the battlefield, just ready to mow you down. Oops, I hadn't tried the hips yet, but there you go. To add to the slaughterness, you have the whistle, you have the sunglasses, and you have the hat. And when you push it down, that actually helps hold the sunglasses on. Unmistakably Sergeant Slaughter. Oh, and then this. There's also this rifle. You gotta load that up, snaps right in. This, I think, snaps on that side. There's also 2 open clawed hands, 2 trigger finger hands, and then 2 pointing hands because he's got to give you orders. Also this, a scale Sergeant Slaughter action figure for him to advertise to you. This is fantastic. I've seen some people call this dumb, but it's fun. And anyone who thinks fun is dumb, just remember, you're playing with toys. I don't even want to give him a gun. He's formidable like this. This is how he's going to go in the display. I'm going to be honest, I meant to cancel my pre-order on this set, and I forgot. But now that I have it in hand, it is kind of cool. I don't mind the color scheme on this motorcycle that we have gotten before, in case you didn't know. I will still say I'd rather see this up here, but I know why it's back here. The yellow's not near the eyesore I thought it would be. And then I kind of like the fade going from yellow to orange up to white. You got the rolling wheel and the rolling wheel, and it turns a little. And then the machine gun sidecar does come off, and you can split that. And you have a red Gatling gun with the Tiger Force logo on the side. For me, it'll probably stay on here because it helps the bike stay up. And then there's Duke, who is complete reuse of the original Duke. I'm coming around to the colors here. Okay, the orange tiger stripe, it is kind of gaudy, but I'm digging this drab green up here. The more subdued gloves, the black armor bits to the legs, and I'm just now realizing there was another Duke repaint in between these that I never opened, huh? Wonder where that is. The browns to the bandolier, the belt. well, okay, the green's not bad, but this goes with this, and this goes with this. I don't think this is going to replace this one because of the khakis and everything. And again, I need to go find that other one to see if it's better. But I don't mind this either. There is one thing that bugs me. Why is the collar red? That is the only appearance of that color on this whole figure. So my eye is drawn directly to it. And I thought the hair was going to be darker. It's just kind of a shade darker. I was about to swap heads, but then I realized the skin tones are off, so the necks wouldn't match. Not bad at all. It's same articulation, same everything of the first figure. Here we go with the hips. Yep, Robo does not know what he's talking about. Comes with the backpack, has the shovel, has the canteens, plugs right into the back. There's a hole in the back, but I thought there was a hole in the strap because that pouch right there keeps it from going all the way flush. And of course I've taken it off this one. Of course I have. Then it comes with the same Tatooine binoculars that you can plug in right here on the back of the belt. The same pistol as the original release goes over here in the holster. Then we get a different rifle that we just saw with Stalker. So that goes over here and that makes me pretty happy. Okay, yeah, now that I have it open, have it out, I don't regret getting this at all. The Python Patrol Officer. This is another one that was kind of, I'll throw my pre-order in. If I get it, I get it. If it's canceled, it's canceled. But I got it, and now that I have it, boy, that's some yellow. Stark contrast to the black and the grays everywhere else. It's almost like he's wearing an ugly sweater to the office party. And those yellow stripes, they're not sculpted in, they're just painted over the regular Cobra Trooper, which is weird because it's an officer. It should be using the officer torso, right? It's using the harness, but I feel like it should, like the ranks or something? I don't know. Really, the biggest difference between the trooper and the officer is the torso and the head. And the Python Patrol is using the officer head. It has the cloth mask look instead of the metal mask. Notice the skin tones are different. If you want different officers, you can pop the head off here and then pop the head off here. Put this over here, put the blue helmet on, and you have a different officer. And it doesn't matter if the Python Patrol head doesn't have the blue, it's covered up. You don't even see it. Like I needed a reason to buy another one of these. This is kind of a hard sell for me. I'm not really digging the color scheme, but it works, that wacky Cobra uniform. Because you put these together and yeah, it works. Accessory-wise, it comes with the same stuff as the Cobra Officer, like this Han Solo blaster. There's this knife that I'm going to need to heat up a little bit, or just leave it in the sheath, let nature straighten it out. There's this rifle. This comes out, and that goes into here and plugs into the back. But then there's also extra ammo that you can put down here in the belt. There's also this same light we saw a minute ago. It goes on this rifle, but it doesn't fit on when it's in here. So there's also a little spot for that too. Those G.I. Joe guys think of everything. And then there's also this gun, whatever it may be. Well, I guess the ammo goes in there too, but if you put it in the right hand, it's going into it, and I hate that. So I'm just gonna leave it as is. He'll put the ammo in when he needs it. And there you go. Complete look. All the accessories on the figure. Not my favorite trooper, but he adds to the ranks. Tiger Force Bazooka. Oh man, so good. I already had this one open, so I already know what I'm getting into here. It's not my first foray into this figure. And I know this is not his main look, his classic look, but for me, I'm kind of digging the white shirt and the Battle Cat camo. It's interesting that these sleeves hanging down over the biceps are an overlay. They're a separate piece. That probably saves some paint work. It's molded in white to match the rest of the molded white. All they needed to do was to paint the stripe. And then it's a clean line between flesh and fabric. I figured that one out on my own. Yay me. Now I'm pondering, why did they change the torso articulation setup? They usually have a hinge mid-torso. And here, it would have rode right up the side of the 4, across, just like it is right now, and then down the other side of the 1. And it would have just done this, breaking this back and forth, just like this joint does. Now you can turn it and break it even more, which, posing-wise, works really, really well. I love a good turn in the mid-torso. But is it redundant because of the waist? Would a hinge give us more crunch here? I don't know, like the biceps that I pointed out more than a few times. It's just odd compared to the rest of the line. It still works. It's just odd. Also, I'm going to have to oil these up. There's tension. I get it to here, and I can just feel it twisting instead of turning. Damn, G.I. Joes can do the splits. So just a dab, just a drop. Work this way for a bit, and then start kind of rocking back and forth. And there you go. You get some turn out of it. How's he compare to Slaughter? Slightly shorter, but still bigger than your average Duke. Look at that head sculpt. He'll take you out back, beat the shit out of you, pick you up, bring you inside, buy you a beer. I do have a nitpick with the boot. See how it kicks out? The leg comes down, 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 boom, sticks out. And I don't know if it's because of the peg. Is it jutting out? Is it not seated all the way? A little better, but as soon as I move it, it kicks out again. Big heavy belt. Pouches. One of my favorite things is the helmet. It's kind of red. It matches the jersey. It goes on. It looks good. He's just running head first into battle. Plus, you got to be this big, bulky, and protected when your main weapon is this bastard. It does have some paint to it, this darker green right here, and it goes around. Oh, same thing on the other side. This isn't very soft, and we'll get to that here in a second. But back here, I don't know why this opens. Well, maybe it's to dig the rockets out if you push it too far in. Here's the backpack, big old pouch, and each of these rockets come out. And with that, you can load in the front. Well, it doesn't go any deeper than that. You can load from the back and, oh, come back. There you go. Maybe you can store a rocket in there in case you don't want to use the backpack. Yeah, it just comes right out. Going back to the complaint I see a lot, this backpack just plugs in and there's no straps. But again, my point of view, the 80s didn't have straps, so this works for me. Although mine doesn't go in all the way. There's some gap in between there. So this feels flexy. He sure looks good with those rockets peeking out from behind him. For the launcher, I kept wanting to put the strap on the outside since it angles out that way. The better way is to go on the inside, even though it gets in the way when you're trying to push and twist. There you go. There, it pushes against the forearm and it keeps it from falling off to the side. Well, when the wrist turns, of course, but it keeps it up on his shoulder better. Then there's this other handle on the front. Turn. He just looks good launching. Fire in the hole. Belt does like to ride up in the back, which makes it ride down in the front like that, so I keep fiddling with that. Otherwise, it's a good looking figure. Big, tough. Finally, we're gonna stop at Recondo, which is really the newest figure I've gotten. And I love this too. I know, not the traditional colors for Recondo, but there's just something about that black shirt, that Battle Cat camo, those brown boots and straps and harness. It just works. But I know what's catching your eye because it's the first thing that caught mine. That shiny black torso doesn't really match up with the dull black on the sleeves. I'm gonna end up having to take all this off and hit it with some dull coat to make it all match together, which doesn't hurt a thing because, as we've seen, the faces are shiny in places. But look at that glorious mustache, kind of a cocky grin. I feel like there should be a monocle there. I know there shouldn't be, but maybe it's the raised eyebrow or something. The hair sweeping back, this is a manly man. I also like this harness too. I like them when they're thin and don't get in the way as much. And then again with the overlay belt with the fake shirt bottom. Bring it down, it looks like the shirt's untucked going through the belt, coming out over the pants. Holster, big knife sheath apparatus, because again, gotta add your pouches where you can. Pouch, 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 pouch. Thinking some of the Joes were fans of 90s X-Men. Again, shirt, pants, boots, some gear, unique head, and you have yourself another G.I. Joe. I knew these hips were already loose too because I've already played with this figure. You turn and the light catches the watch. That's kind of nifty, like bing. And also the compass. I was gonna call it a Joe Pro until I got up close and then I realized, nope, that's just hanging off the belt. Then part of the Recondo look is the hat, and ooh, just debonair. Kind of rubbery, got some flex to it, so when you put it on, it kind of sticks to the head. It's not going to fly off. Have the same style backpack as the rest, mostly green, some brown up here on the knapsack, canteen sculpted in, pouch. And here, he does have some straps coming around, so the look is realistic if that's your thing. There's a smallish pistol, goes right in here. And then there's this rifle with the wraps. I've heated this a couple of times, but I cannot get this barrel to straighten out. So what's probably going to happen is going in the hand, push and twist, and I'm going to have him holding it way out here. So maybe over time it'll straighten out. Look at that. It's Recondo, another G.I. Joe member. That shelf is growing fast. Oh, and before we get into the ending, I forgot Rekondo's knife. It was laying right here. I just saw it. I pointed out his elaborate sheath on his leg. Forgot to put the knife in it. So there is that. So at the end of the day, oh man, it's nice opening up a bunch of G.I. Joes. And I got to play. That means it was a good day. I don't care if there's repetition there. Playdays are playdays. I got to add to my G.I. Joes. I got to add to my Cobras, my bad guys, my officers, my big brutes, my ninjas, my animals. It was fun, and that's what really matters. I have my nitpicks here and there, But that's with any action figure. I usually focus on the positives. Although I will say, doing this many figures at the same time, it's kind of like binging a TV show. You get a couple seasons in and you start noticing the patterns, the rehashed story beats. And here it was like, oh, this gun, I just looked at this a minute ago, or this body, or this, or that. But for the most part, all unique characters. And G.I. Joe has been reused for 40 years. I mean, even back in the day, they shared some parts. So, whatever. Look at this. Everyone standing here, each one's an individual. You can see the personalities just shining through, and that's amazing. I don't know if I'll ever do a 14, 15 figure play day again, but I had to catch up. That stack was getting daunting. Had to wipe it out before some new G.I. Joe stuff comes in. What's the next stuff coming out? I don't know. We'll see. But if you enjoyed this playdate, comment, like, subscribe. Much love to the plus. If you're interested in seeing videos early or in a position to help out the channel, patreon.com, or wherever you may be watching this. I'll always catch you on the Fwoosh.